Okay, cool. Um, Let me start there again. So, price is always wanting to return back to the fair value gap, and that's the high magnetic position, of course. Then you get on the left-hand side where the price is actually below the fair value gap, or on the right-hand side, price is above the fair value gap. And when you have them in this area, for instance, that's when it's in the oversold position. So price, for instance, might be like on a weekly level. The fair value gap's on a weekly fair value gap, and the price has gone down so much so that it rose a little bit, but still then needs to retrace, and rises a little bit and needs to retrace. So I made a post in the group there just explaining how you could, even still in these areas, that although it hits resistance points, it's still below fair value gap, for instance, and it would be more on the support side of that fair value gap. So if that makes sense, but it's a support side of a high time frame, so a monthly or a weekly. That's what we would call this as our support side. And obviously vice versa for the resistance. So that was just a clarity on that I posted in there. If I saw some of you did, I suppose just give a thumbs up understanding, but if you didn't understand, obviously that's what I'm meaning. Sometimes I do overcomplicate in my explanations, but it eventually comes out. It'll get there. Okay, so that was just something that was very interesting to have a look at. And I also mentioned that if you're looking for, for instance, if you're looking to go long swing, for instance, of course this area would be, the areas of entry. These, for instance, might retrace a little bit, and then, you might get a continuation entry eventually get price to get to this point. But ultimately, these are the positions what you're looking for. Like these are almost the bottom end, bottom line, where long positions are going to go and match and reach to at least somewhere in the middle, preferably up in the top side. So theoretically, that's where you're looking to go. It goes to middle, but obviously for it to move and expand out of it, it'll either expand in that direction or that direction. So I've been watching how the tokens actually, once they move on this map, I've been watching like as they move, where did they move from, taking screenshots just to see the behavior. And that's just something I found quite relevant. The tool is becoming more intuitive for me now. When I look at it, I can at least understand, more of what it's showing me. And as I've said in the past, the more and more you stare at it, the more it starts to, show more of a picture you can understand. Also, something I've noticed, and this was actually I noticed with Danae last night. I actually noticed when the majority of the tiles are a certain color. So even if whether they are red or whether they are green. So it actually in general, so right now it actually seems like it's increasing again because there was a lot of sell-off. Everything started to show red. So it was indicating that there was recognizing of a lot of swing highs. So this is also a good gauge, besides looking at a heat map, just a good gauge to know where the general swing and movements are in the market and what the overall kind of RSI swing movement is. And that's just by kind of observing, if I had to like divide this up, how many of the top 40 are actually in a swing red or a swing green. So that's another observation that I've pulled up. And I thought, well, for me, I, get a bit of a market sentiment just by looking at the color. So another useful thing for me that I thought maybe could be introduced to this as well. And yeah, for the rest of the tools, of course, nothing's changed, all the same, and all the details are in the previous video. So I'll leave you just to have a look at that one if you haven't watched it. Then I wanted to get into a replay of a trade that I did the other day. And my specific style is opposing candles. It's the SMC combined with the Trendex. But using the Trendex for me is more just to see and understand where those different levels of the resistance or support levels are, and if it's hit an expansion or not. And then obviously you want to catch the reversal on. So that's why I use it specifically for these tools. So high levels or areas of interest would be, of course, your fair value gap areas where you'd mark your fair value gap. And if you can get multiple combinations of high confluence areas, so liquidity, interests, weekly 2, weekly 3. So in this example, the price had broken monthly R2, monthly R3, and quite strong as well, and previous week high. So that was a strong indication. Okay, cool. Now it's broken this with force. It retraced and obviously then utilized the support as resistance. So this indication, of course, this says, okay, cool. Price is obviously ready to move a bit higher now. And as you can see, based on the weekly pivots, the weekly 2 and 3 were above that. And here you've got the daily as well, which is the daily resistance 3. So there were much higher levels already presenting. So this being broken with such force wasn't such a surprise. With that, of course, we're looking to see, okay, at this time, the RSI levels were about 85 on the EAX. So every time I have a look at what I'm, a token that I'm looking at, I always go back and I use reference just to see what information it's presenting. For me, I like to try and get as much like showing the RSI, like for instance, it's on a bearish divergence. We've got the indication on the 1 hour and the 4 hour showing reversals. Usually the reversals will happen on the lower time frames before it happens on the higher time frames. So it's a stronger confluence to try and catch the bearish, because the bearish divergence usually shows prior to when the movement's going to happen. And the combination between the lower time frame reversal indications with that, for me, I've been finding quite often, and especially in areas of support and resistance, that very often it plays out like that. So just something to consider, maybe have a look at when you do, for me, this is the tool that you're going to start off regardless of wherever you're looking or however you're trading. Just to maybe, when you are looking for the coins, to maybe consider 1 or 2 of those other things, and maybe it helps you just to understand a bit more. Anyway, so it was at about 85. It was in strong continuation to the upside. It was showing a bullish divergence as well. So of course, that being said, I was expecting it to move quite high, but it had moved quite a lot already. So at some point when it did return, it was going to drop quite hard. So, and that's primarily one of the reasons why we've actually done the whole 42 top moving token idea within the actual coins that get pulled through, is for that reason. It's just the more that it moves up, obviously if we're reversals, means the more chance it'll move down quite a bit too. Okay, so I just want to play this out a little bit, how it worked, of course. So what I do is I go and I mark out, the 1 hour posing, 4 hour posing. The 1 hours I usually only mark for the closest area, anything that I have within close proximity, because that's generally recent liquidity that's been left. Of course, your 4 hours, you can go further back. That's generally where price on a higher time level would have responded like quite aggressively compared to the 1 hour. And for that reason, I would expect there to be more of an influence when it reaches these points. So I like to mark out both or as much as I can, especially when you're reaching a price, that's blasting off like this. You want to try and catch it all along the way and see what is it responding to, what does it overlap, when is it becoming, when is it entering into a position where exhaustion is happening. So I marked everything out, and I actually put it onto the group as well, where I marked out, because I saw this 4 hour posing candle level and the weekly 3. This for me, although it was I'll show you how I play it out a bit now. It was showing like small points of reversal. I expected, based on the RSI, I think it was about 87, to at least reach 92, 93 before, after like such a long movement, to make a very, very strong move and down. And based on the down movement, you always want to try and catch it on one of these opposing candle levels to use them as CISDs because they will return very fast. So with that, I just wanted to play this out and show you exactly how this one played. So because this was obviously an area of interest initially, I would always look at this and just to see how price was responding. It was building up a little bit, doing a bit of an accumulation move, and then made a very strong move to the upside here to make this sweep for this weekly R2 liquidity. But then when it did that move, it actually like did it with such force, if you can see here. And then when I was watching it, I did say, you know what, this price has to sweep this area because it's so strong. And then when it does, it's going to retrace. And then there. So if you see at that point, it literally took a moment just to stop. And in a very short space, I think in an hour, it swept all of these levels with extreme force. Now, if you look at this as a 5 minute, this is your 5 minute candle formation, what it looks like. Now, in this area, because if you have a look on this CISD, which we would consider CISD, because now it's swept a 4 hour candle level. At this point, the RSI was at about 97. It was indicating that it was on two short, small time frames. It was indicating that it was on a bearish divergence, and it was in overbought area on the TDIX as well. Obviously, now if you can see, it's showing a bit of a formation for displacement. So it had the sweep and it had a strong movement down. You see that strong movement. So that for me, for instance, the minute it broke this CISD here. So in fact, if you would have bought it, you would have actually done your CISD level here, would have been comfortable with to do it with as well. I actually did enter there. But that strong movement to the downside, obviously, with force was showing like the confirmation of, okay, price is now retracing. So this was your whale entry point, or your market manipulator, or someone that's got, you know, one of Elon Musk's kids that's got his credit cards or something like that. So this is an AMD process. So I've been asked like what time frame do I usually work on? I was asked that the other day, and you know, and I did say like I didn't want to complicate anything, but it's because I don't specifically use say the SMCX on a 2 time frame variation. Because sometimes, for instance, you only get to use, you only get to use 15-minute opposing candle levels because you don't have anything else, you know. And if you're looking for a 1 hour opposing candle level, there is nothing if it's an all-time high. So it really depends on what you're using, or where the price is in relation to where it's been before, or if it's an all-time, of course. So because of those reasons, I don't specifically use any one time frame. I always look for these combinations of, resistance or support areas and levels, and then I try and mark out my different, as I go along, I mark out all my opposing, and continue to do this. At some point, when price breaks and then breaks down to the strong side, it would have, like for instance, it broke through that one and broke down. This is your entry on a AMD model, and because of all the conditions were met. So I just wanted to show that to you, just to explain what my entries or how I work it out. And if you look at this thing just went crazy. So it was I was building it up. I think I made 3 or 4 posts on it, and I kept saying it's coming, it's getting to the area, it's getting to the area. And then eventually I made the post, and I'm like, well, there it is, you know. And you see this often, like almost daily with a lot of tokens. This setup actually presents itself. And these are the ones I personally look for. So whenever I do see it, I'll always post it out there. And just know the reason I'm posting it out there is because it falls within this criteria of what I'm actually looking for. All right. Just so you guys know out there, because there's a lot of, everyone's putting setups, but no one's really explaining what their setup is really about or how they're trading, what they're trading from. It and then yeah, in future it'll just better help you to understand exactly what mine mean. Okay, cool. Next levels. Going on from that, what else? What I did as well today, in general, the RSI seemed a lot lower. It's on 38.5 today or now. So there seems a lot more in this bottom corner here. And of course, these are all gears to setups for longs. So today, I think we are forced to consider more opportunities for longs, just as the market is allowing. So what I've done, I've actually taken low left RSI heat map. So that's meaning I put a section just saying this is where I got it from. And then also the next one I did a swing point detection 1 hour. So I've also explained before where I've done this whole procedure when I've done all the three key levels. And when I did it earlier, there were three tokens that were in this. So I got all three of those tokens and I put them in. This was just before the lesson started. And these are the three that I put down here as well. So just these are another version of how I like to find the tokens. So I entered them as well. I can see they're actually out of that criteria now as well. So we'll have to have a look to see if they are still relevant. I'll just restart that one. And then, of course, the overbought, which would be in the top, your top right-hand side. In fact, it wasn't, it was just in the overbought. I think we were going to do, it was here. Yeah, stalk. So this one's actually gone bearish already. But we'll have a look at it. I see there are some tokens already starting to move into the top right-hand corner. So these are going to start setting up, presenting setups for reversal shorts as well. So maybe we can pull a few of them out. Okay. Let's have a look at the first one. Hello. So I see there's quite a lot of drop happening. This doesn't happen as often. So market today is, I don't know if there's any news or anything people know about. Listing, 11th listing. So this one's dropped after having been listed. Interesting. It's not even being just delisted. So this one does indicate showing RSI is bullish. RSI is on a 15, which is pretty low. And then we've got the continuation all on all the time frames to the downside. You can see it's moving quite strong. The movement from 1 day, so 18%, it's still obviously looking to find new lows. These are clear indications based on there's enough information here for it to give an accurate, say, 14 days. So I'll take these weeklies as quite a relevant options to look for entries as well, or to expect price to somehow maneuver over these areas. So let's have a look at it on the lower time frame. And just so everyone is aware that might not be, the shorter light blue lines are the resistance weekly 2. The dark purple one is weekly resistance 3, and the orange is daily resistance 3. Just so you understand where generally I'm looking at. So daily pivots below the weekly pivots, obviously showing that there's more prices moving more down to the downside, of course. On a 15-minute, let's see. Okay, so we've got a bit of an accumulation down at this point. I don't have anything in reference, obviously, to state or stipulate why. Let's have a look to see on, oops, what we do have on a 1 hour. So here we go. We've got a break. So we've got a change of character to the downside. So there was a break. That's an upside. Okay, we might have to look on a lower time frame. See, this is the only thing when you start to look at these lower all-time levels or higher all-time levels, you start with your highest time frame just to see what price is, and this will be your most how can I say, your highest confluence or confirmation area if you had to have a, say for instance, price break and then retrace and use as a support would indicate price is on a continuation to the up. So that's how you would use these levels, the 1 hour levels. This is an accumulation phase at the moment. So what I would personally do is, of course, just I would like to see what price is doing on, and not to use these as CISDs or not, but just watch price to see how it moves over these areas, how quickly it does, how long it accumulates. Sometimes price likes to accumulate. Once it accumulates quite for quite a long time, then you can actually get more of a indication of that opposing candle level on a higher time frame. So this would just be indication that price was moving for longer. Okay, so so for instance, I would want to see how does price break out of this box, because you do have a fair value gap to the top. Like you can see this one claimed a bit of the expansion and moved to the downside. There's been no claiming here yet. So sometimes, again, like I say, price likes to just do it. Opened in the center, retraced a little bit. Now it's gone down to the bottom side here. It's gone down to the bottom. Now it's gone down to the top, actually. So price open down to the bottom. Now it's reaching to the top. To watch how price breaks out of this and then whether it breaks with force or not is what I would look for. Your RSI levels on 15. So there is potential for it to still move more to the downside. I mean, I think we've got some there that were like 7. And it indicates bullish on the highest time frame. So at some point, this is going to make a nice bounce. So what I would keep doing and what I will keep doing is I'm going to keep setting targets to watch how price responds, for instance. I'll even set this one here. So that's actually what I do basically. And then when the price reaches there, I start marking out my opposing candle levels again. And if it starts nearing any of these support levels, then, I mean, if it comes within, 50% of that distance, my expectation would be to make a sweep always over these other area points. Right now, we don't have any other confirmations. So right now, the only confirmation it is the simple support based on the last 14 days of data. So it's not high enough to say that it will do it. But if it gets relatively close, you can always expect that. Okay. I am going to get to the next one. All right, so this one actually I started marking out as well, Rex. I think I actually entered this one. And it's probably out already. I just did a small scalp when I opened it. Let me see where I can find Rex, EAX, EAX. So it's moved off here. Here's Rex here. So it's 71%, which is a lot of movement there. And it's actually under here. That's why I actually can't get a glimpse of it, but we've got it here. So Rex is on a 12 RSI. I think this one was on a 7 earlier. Continuation It hasn't got a lot of proximity levels as well, obviously, because the price has dropped so drastically. But 71% to the downside. And the news on this one, 22nd of September, so it's just recently been listed. White paper release in May. Yeah, so it doesn't actually have any other reason to drop unless something else has happened or that's been exploited or, these things I'm never quite sure of. So what I did, um, as you can see, because this price, for instance, it's knocked through all of those support levels now. Now we've got no further information as to why this price or where it's going and why it's going there. So we've got no levels on it. It's just showing a very, very low RSI. It's 408% to the weekly fair value gap. That's obviously where it started. So it's massive movement, very, very volatile. So of course, if you do this trading, you must be very, very gentle. I'm quite sure that, an entry will be knocked out very quickly. Yeah. So I actually marked it out here. Let me just get on a higher time frame. First of all, I got my 1 hour. Yeah, there's my 1 hour. So I just needed to understand, okay, cool. Is price retracing going back down? And then what other price could I use as opposing candle in order to see if it responds? So I marked out the 15 minutes. And as you can see, that 15-minute price retraced, hit it, and now it's actually rejected off that 15-minute. So this is a good indication of how the opposing candles actually work to see when price responds. If it breaks to the downside, it'll always retrace and it'll either break that resistance level to the top and then flip resistance to support and then continue, or it will use it as a resistance and then it becomes resistance and retraces down and could then potentially break more to the downside. So, for instance, I actually entered, I think, just here, and I'll actually have a look at my earning just now. And I put my TP over there, so it actually hit it perfectly along those opposing candle lines. And that's just the how to use the trading in between the opposing candles. So yeah, this is another very interesting token. For instance, now would keep on marking out these levels best I can. While now you've got a 1 hour, you've actually got another opposing candle level here on your 1 hour time frame, and you've got your 1 hour time frame opposing candle level. So there, at least you've got some information as to see what is price doing in between here. Does it retrace a little bit, claim some of this fair value gap, and then go back towards the upside? Because then you can mark it out. And there we go, and that's on a 1 hour. Let's have a look. So just to see if price just responds and then continues to the upside. So if price doesn't break below this point, or the candle doesn't close below these points over here, or at least like say 50%, that'll be your equilibrium price that I would use. You could always get an entry there to move to the upside. And then you could work and trade in between the opposing candle levels until obviously it gives you a higher time frame opposing candle level to work with. But I'll leave that with you. That one, this was a very interesting one. I did like it when I saw it. I think I caught it, yeah, to just here. So yeah, hopefully someone else gets it as well. Okay, let's see what this one did. Oh, this one actually already responded. Bullish. So bullish divergence on an RSI 19, still potential. It does have, let's just see how far that is. 12% on RSI 19 with a bullish divergence, no proximity levels. So again, I would mark out my level, my opposing candle levels. That's obviously the break to the downside. And then you've got another one here. Okay. And then here you've got a level, obviously, where it was rejected. So I would just mark some of these. You just use what you can that's available, of course. And the more data you've got, the better, the more accurate these things do respond to the price. These tokens, of course, are very volatile because, as you can see, the way it's moved, and they're still new. So there's not too much you can do with them besides using this. Waiting for these high time frame confirmation changes on extreme volatility leaves you with these massive wicks that it doesn't even make sense to enter on the SMCX usually. So the SMCX strategy, leaving the swing point as your stop loss, would generally make more sense if you've got a more respected high time frame pattern. So this is just playing with volatility, basically. So it gives you a little bit more tools, a little bit more control, in my opinion, is why I like to use it. But of course, everyone has their style and their way. Maybe there's something out there that I haven't found yet that will work better for me yet. But so far, this is it. And it's showing reversal on the 1 hour and the 4 hour. And once again, like I said, with a low RSI and a reversal on those two time frames is generally when you catch that reversal point. So that's a good indication. And obviously that there's a bullish divergence. So that's a good indication that price is already starting to reverse on the lower time frame through three different means of identification. So it's not all SMC, it's all easy algo that we're using. Just putting it out there. And okay, so for this one, we can even look to watch how price responds within these frames. So it's very close to this, and it's not on a narrow, so it's not expected to reach this daily R3. But the weekly R2 is quite possible with the RSI 19. I mean, they can move quite below it, but I would strongly be confident enough to say if it had to break the CISD level here, so this opposing candle level, if it had to break this, retrace, and then use this as a support, you'd be eligible then to be confident enough for continuation to the upside. This is below its all-time low, previous day low, previous week low, everything above it is above it as well. And like I said, 78% towards the daily fair value gap. So it's got a lot of movement to make. I mean, it's 61% already. This one's going to make a nice move. But just be careful. Of course, you want to make sure that it gives you mark out those levels best you can. You don't want to get trapped by it indicate like this might be indicating like it's on its way up, and then obviously just turn and make a last little sweep. So just be sure that you mark your levels out, you're comfortable with your opposing levels, and then your confirmation of it being turned resistance into support, then you should be good to go. Okay. OG. Where's everything? Okay, everything is loading. So this is from the swing point detections, and using all three of the filters. These three filters here, just so everyone knows: RSI divergence, key levels, and the top movers. So once you push all of them, yeah, there's nothing in them at the moment. So this could have already made a change. Just trying to see now. So that no, it hasn't moved too much. Okay, so why did we have a look at this one? 4 hours showing high and low, so it's in accumulation basically. Let's have a look to see. This one was even indecision. It's another indecision. So this one it's definitely accumulating before it makes some breakout. So to look for a manipulation point is is always what you look for in these situations. It's showing bullish on two different high time frames. Continuation on the 1 hour, continuation on the daily and the weekly. So it's still in continuation according to all of this, but it is in the bullish. RSI is 30, so still has ability to move a little bit more to the downside. It does. The SMC high time frame candles on the daily shows indications of movement more to the downside as well. So these levels here, for instance, are still very possible to be swept up. We can always have a look to see if we can find a fair value gap. Okay, closest daily fair value gap I can see is here. So there's quite a bit of liquidity to the downside. I mean, here you've got your weekly part 2. Yeah, and there's a lot of fair value down here as well. So I just want to go into a 4-hour time frame. I mean, you've got this massive 4-hour fair value gap here. So when price does reverse, it'll come and claim that. Just trying to see. So you've got your 4-hour level, which is more around in correspondence there with your support 3 level as well. So this will be a high area of interest, and as well, you've got your fair value gap, which is by your previous week high. So this would be my area of interest, just personally. Okay. Around there, just to see how price enters and how it responds. I just want to see what this looks like here. So that's a massive sweep. Swept up, it's indecision accumulation. So it will make a breakout at some point. So narrows, it's under the weekly pivots. I still would look to finding something more to the downside. I mean, you can even enter into a continuation entry to the downside as well, if you wanted to watch to see. Let me just see here. You've got your 1-hour levels here. So there would be it's tapped in, but it's going to the downside. If price had to break this down with force, retrace, use it as a support, as a resistance, and into the continuation, you can enter onto the downside, obviously to this area. But those are just the two different ways. That's a continuation trade, obviously wait for a reversal. So I'm going to leave that there for you. Blessed. Is this one blessed? So a continuation on the high time frame looks to the downside. It does show divergence bullish on the 1-hour daily in the 15-minute 12, which is good indication. It's showing reversal on the 1-hour. So all signs of reversal to the upside, which is a good point to start looking. RSI is a little high for a reversal, or for a massive reversal as well. It's moved 23%. So let's have a look what's below here. So this is, yeah, this is an all-time low. A lot of all-time lows. Not much supporting this data, to be honest with you, because it's still fairly new. So this support area, I don't know how reliable it would be. So I'd mark out again, and then mark out your opposing. Okay, so you've got a fair value gap potential, obviously, for it to claim a little and then still continue to the downside. Can use these as entry points, but it's always looking for that strong break to the downside. And you see like it broke to the downside and then is retraced and it's touched and it's now accumulating. I would wait for a strong move and a break to the upside again. So you want price generally for manipulation to like break the CISD or the opposing level and then retrace back over it. So pretty much just create a V over that space. And then you pay for a way, obviously, to the upside. Or obviously, if it's in continuation, it'll break and then it'll use this point as a resistance. You'll see it won't break past it. It'll maybe just leave a wick and then it'll show continuation slowly down to the downside. So that's how you wait to see what the price is doing. And you only do it once you've gotten your confirmation of how price breaks over the opposing candle levels in collaboration with the overbought and oversold and the indications of the RSI. And obviously the bias of the SMC. So yeah, another one that could definitely turn out pretty interesting. Okay, and this will be the last one we do on the low end, the low side. Okay, so this one you've actually got, it hasn't got a lot of information, but it's very close to your weekly resistance 2 levels. It's shown RSI is 35, so it still shows that it could potentially stretch for a little bit more if it needed to. Doesn't show any divergence at the moment. And this is Apex. Let me just see if I can get something new on Apex now. There, it's showing bullish. It's actually changed since. So I'm giving you a fresh one here. Okay, still in continuation, and it's in confusion on the week. The high and low, but it is showing a divergence of bullish on the 5 and the 15-12 now, which is pretty good. So RSI 30 showing bullish. It still needs to make a bit of a move here, clearly. How far it wants to reach down, of course, is something you would need to determine, and it could also be market related. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and see if I can't, or what I can leave out here, what I can mark for you just to give you an indication. So I'm going to mark, that's the 1 hour. Let's just have a look on the 15-minute. You see it's been hovering around and then it broke it with force. So price then, for instance, it could either go down, stretch, reach, and then retrace back. So you can use this again as your indication for CISD or these opposing candle levels. And now if you've only got like 15 minutes or 30 minutes, see there we go. You can even use a 30-minute, for instance, over here. You use the highest time frame that you've got. I mean, that's just how the tools you have in the moments. And if you really want to catch these opportunities that don't have much information, you still have to keep on marking them out on the best, highest time frame you can. If it accumulates, gives you more option because then the high time frame increases. You can turn it from a 15-minute to a 30 minutes and then from 30 minutes to a 1 hour. So yeah, just keep on clearing it and making it more clear for yourself. So here we go. I've marked out 2 levels there. So that was obviously the break to the downside. This level is very, very close by as well. So of course, anything over this, I would want to see price break, but obviously retrace back. And just watch to see what signature it leaves. So it could, for instance, retrace a little bit back, come back, go a little bit there. If it leaves those opposing candle levels, mark them out because that could then be your CISD levels as well. So just watch it closely as price gets closer to these marks. It could go down to the bottom one, but the idea is just to keep on giving yourself cool. It didn't break. It used it as a resistance. Then you start marking out again because you're expecting it at some point to break that and retrace. And that's what you use as your entry. Okay. Let's have a look at Stork. Now, this one was found, it was a little higher here when I did actually do it. And this was the example, like I said, to show, I'm just going to get a fresh one of these, to show exactly how, although price might be very below the high magnetic, high time frame fair value gap, it can still end up and hit resistance points and drop before it gets anywhere near those price points above it. So it takes time to get to that point. However, if you are a swing trader, that's obviously when the price drops again a little bit low, could be your swing entry, for instance. So if it started making its move from here, coming back here a little bit, and eventually start making its way like a little bit of a zigzag, because that's what I actually observed it does. And then eventually it actually ends up at this point. It never just goes from here to there. That's a long movement, especially when these things are saying like it's 89 or 44%, 65%. So always have to see how far from that. Okay, this one to support monthly is close and weekly fair value gap is at 105%. So this thing has to move 105% before it can actually go back to that middle point. So just to put that into perspective, like it's going to hit this whole up and down along this side, yeah, quite a few times before it's going to actually get to this point, unless there's just some crazy movement. But that's just an expectation. Okay, I wanted to get a new one. I don't know if I saved it. Let me just make sure. Okay. So this one is showing 68 RSI reversal on the 1 hour, 4 hour continuation on the daily and continuation on the weekly. So where is my SMCX? I'm on the 30-minute, that's why. There we go. So it actually bounced off. It broke the previous week high, broke, or tapped into the daily R3, retraced, used the previous week high as a support. So support turn resistance turned support, broke that R3 level, a daily R3 level with extreme conviction. So have a look on the lower time frame here. Yeah, well, that's extreme conviction. And now you can see it's being used, that resistance is being used as a support here. So at having a look at this now, 68 RSI, so still potential room to move above before it retraces. It is showing a bearish divergence on the 15-12. And fair value gap 105. Like I said, fair value gap is like way, way up there. So right above. And then those fair value gaps generally will show you why those monthly. So this dark long purple one would be why your monthly resistance levels will be quite high if it's on the left-hand side of your map. So yeah, just to give a bit of assistance with the interpretation of the tools. Okay, so once again here, you've got quite a lot of information here, which is great. So there's a CISD level. That's the break of structure to the upside. And now, of course, you've got your displacement, which will become your opposing candle levels. And to actually watch now, it's actually forming here on the 1 hour as well. So I'm assuming this is going to leave you can actually see there, but I mean, it's a bit too premature to leave it there. Let's just have a look at to see what this does on a 5 minute. So here, for instance, you want to actually see, so price bounced off, tapped in, broke through, is bouncing off another resistance level. And you could either see how strong it breaks to the downside or how if it breaks to the upside. So this would be my upside CISD for continuation to make a sweep over this R2 level, possibly R3 as well, because 68 is not really that high. And of course, again, the magnetic price is always your fair value gap. This is literally pulling all the tokens in from left and right. This is what's drawing it all in, essentially. So it wants to go here. So you can always assume at some point, if it has made a move to the upside, it's not going to essentially drop down too far to the downside because of that fair value gap, if it's a token of some worth or value. Of course, there's things that are very controlled and manipulated. You can't really trust what they do. But if it has any relevancy, the price is looking to go back here. It's just natural. It needs to. Okay. So let's have a look more into this, what I can offer. Let's see. We can even mark out, what have we got here? So bearish on the 15, 12. I'm going to leave this one out here. It's not ready. I want to see if I've got anything here from the side. So we've got a fair value gap on the 4 hour here. So this is what it's responding to currently. No. Okay. So it's actually just broken through a fair value gap, and now it's done a bit of a retracement as well. Let's have a look here. So you've got an opposing candle level on the 4 hour. That's a better level to use. That'll be a good confirmation of price returning. And let's see. Of course, break to the upside will be good there. This support level, this resistance level, trying to think here. So I know I draw quite a bit of lines. I understand what they mean, of course. I'll just change the color just to make, of course, you'll have to redo all your own. So this is a 4 hour for me. The 4 hours are good places for price to be heading to, obviously, other than fair value gaps. And yeah, awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, so the CISD levels in the 1 hours are usually very strong. The 4 hours are your heavy liquidity price, like magnets, like your fair value gaps. So I like to use the 1 hours and the 30 minutes as the CISD levels. So this, for instance, if I was going to look for anywhere, I'd be looking here to see how price is responding. I would want to create as many opposing candle levels as I could on the 1 hour time frame, especially. There we go. You just see there. I'm going to just throw a ray here. I'm just like rationing out here. So now we've got quite a few areas where price could potentially just want to sweep and then continue. So if there's a lot of reason for it to go there, it's most likely that it would do a very fast sweep and then a reduce, and then you've got to pick one of your levels as your entry for your CISD. Anyway, hope that helps, guys. Um, I It's been an hour already. Okay, and let me see if there's anything else of interest out there that maybe I can chuck into here. Or if, yes, there we go. I was going to ask if anyone had something to share. So have a look at this. Oh no, sorry, not that one. Let's just use Coinbase for now. Oh no, that's disgusting. USD. Sorry, man. So USD. So there we go. Much better. Yeah, previous week low. So I don't have any data on this. Like I mentioned before, I like to get, I trust this tool now. This is my go-to. I don't know if it's going to be showing anything in here. Mirror, code, store. Okay, no, nothing. So this one I'm going to have to just do on pure observation. Okay, looks like a weekly narrow. So it's below the narrow, it's below the daily. So it's actually a super narrow weekly as well. So generally, when you've got a super narrow weekly narrows, you're looking to hit your extremities with your weekly resistance levels. You've got your dailies, you're looking to get your dailies in relation. That's why they're set there, of course. Um, so this one has expanded quite a bit, and I think just for the previous week now, it's obviously hitting that level where it's responding. My anticipation, without knowing, of course, the RSI on its try TDIX. Have a look. A 4 hour. There you go. So it looks like there's still room. Come. So it's taking long to load for some reason. Yeah, so it's not in an oversold position just yet. RSI is 38 on the daily. And it's still got your weekly levels, your weekly support 2, weekly support 3, near the all-time lows again. So I would, once again, okay, I can see that obviously it's hit its peak here. That's why it's going down. I anticipate still movement to more towards the downside here based on the fact that there are very close proximity of support resistance level 3 and 2. And obviously that it hasn't gone into a complete oversold situation. So it might do a little bit of a retracement here before it continues to the downside, but it is responding to the previous week low. So I'm going to go. So you've got your 1 hour level here already. Let's just throw a raise because it's just easier. This one will make blue. Okay. Let's have a look. Oh, my screen is taking so long to load. The price is actually on that level now. Exactly. I shot the ray. Oh, no, it's not. It's not an option. Chart is really broken. It's probably because it's on OX. Okay. So 15-minute, 4 hour, it shows very, very strong in continuation to the downside. Of course, this does indicate that it has, see, there was an expansion. It's claimed a bit of that expansion, but prices then dropped again before. So this could still then show that it's in continuation to the downside. I would expect this to go more down, personally. I wouldn't personally look for reversals just yet. For me, the criteria is a little bit too risky. Sometimes it does happen, and there's other ways, I suppose, that some people can determine it better. But what you could also do is then just set yourself, if you're wanting to look for more higher time frame confirmations, you can set them like, yeah. That's what it's leaving you with, obviously, here, which is exactly that level that I set there. Yeah, so it's bounce, broke. Now it looks like it's using it as a resistance level. So it'll be interesting to see what price does, especially around this mark here. If you look on the lower time frame, it broke it. Now it does look like it's broken and breaking more to the downside. If it can retrace, bounce, or at least then continue and break this quite strong, then you're looking for a down. A continuation to the downside. You could always mark your level to see how it does there. And then, yeah, I don't know how far it would still want to continue to the downside. But if not, this could just be a bit of a retracement. If it can break other levels of see, there we go. You've got your CISD level on the 15 4 hour at the moment, but there's no displacement at the moment, so you can't really use these CISDs very comfortably. And you can see, yes, it has broken a CISD. That's why it's actually indicating so it did a sweep and it gave you the CISD level there. But I would definitely want to see more higher time frame confluence. So unfortunately with this one, with this support levels here and the RSI still being quite high, I would wait to see if price can actually break that with some force. And then you could look obviously for a continuation to the upside. This one probably has, yeah, it's got a lot of movements to still obviously claim above it. So I can see why you'd be interested in looking to it. It's got a massive order block on the daily order block there. Let's see what are fair value gaps. Yeah, there's a fair value gap here on the weekly fair value gap that it needs to claim as well. So yeah, because of this expansion, yeah, you can expect a bit more drop to the downside. It's obviously just going to accumulate a little bit more, in my opinion. But once you catch this one, I think it'll be a nice one to catch to the upside. So, I mean, I'll leave it there for everyone as well, just to grab it. But this one obviously wasn't from the EAX, so it's very hard to refer to if you need to. Okay, BUSDT. Actually posted something about this one the other day as well. Perpetual. Okay. Let me see. There we go. So it's on here. Yeah, it does definitely help more to give me things that might be on the list, so it's easier for me to read to you guys. Otherwise, I'm very blind. I have to take a very long time to get to read and make sure all the data is correct. Okay, so RSI 49 is pretty much in the middle. So next fair value gap is resting. So this fair value gap, daily fair value gap is above it. So 53% above it. So this could have been a sweep and this is your support support level 3, monthly support 3. Here's your daily support, your monthly support 2. Is it? Yeah, and then you can see it's actually moved, prices moved down based on the week. So you've got your daily resistance, your weekly resistance 2, weekly resistance 3. This is a failure to displace on the 1 hour, 1 day. Let's have a look. So, yeah, I can see it melted quite a bit. I think that's actually when I was posting it in 20, yeah, I was posting it around about there. So it's not showing any divergence at the moment, it's showing reversal on the daily and the weekly, which is still loading. So it'll pop through now, I'm sure. Support monthly 3, yeah, see, it's hitting support monthly 3. So it's bounced off that support monthly. And that's the 4 hour. So there's your failures to displace, and you're sweeping the lows. So this looks like a little bit of a retracement. You've got your fair value gap. Daily fair value gap below here. I mean, that signature is quite a good reversal signature if price was responding above. So if price closes on your daily above this, then it would be a good indication that this obviously is then heading for a reversal to the upside. um, Previous week low, previous day high. Yeah, it's in between. It's a very difficult one. It's not on narrows. It's not. It's like right in the middle of the chart. It's indicating reversals, of course, off the previous day high. So prices below there, but it's also indicating a reversal from the weekly. So it's in the middle. It does have fair value gap, so it could actually expect price to retrace a little back into this area. So if you wanted to find an entry, I think you would need to just have a look to see exactly if, for instance, price over here, how it responds. Does it just break it and close above? If that's the case, then you can obviously look for continuation to the upside. If candles start breaking below it, then you can expect it to move more to the downside. Okay, let me try that one. Um, TC, actually, you know what? TC, I am not sure. Monthly TC. Let me just try and see if I can figure that out. I did see it before and I forgot about it. It's not on there, is it? Trying to see. Oh, so these are all sets terminologies, yeah. So it doesn't, he just does it and he doesn't explain anything as well. um 8.7 to support monthly TC. I mean, let's have a look at stock again before we go there. I'll just put this in here and I'll have a look just to see if I can find a few. If not, I will post what it says later in the group. I've actually asked that question myself. Sorry, Manrico, and I forgot to actually get it answered. Let me just see if I open stock monthly TC. Let me just put the let's have a look to see it. Where are they? Could have something to do with the actual monthly pivots. Because here's the monthly support, there's the monthly resistance. So it's monthly center, or maybe Maybe it's got something to do with the center, so it's in towards the center. Okay. I think it's something to do with that. I'll confirm and I'll make a post on it. Okay. I'm assuming that's what it means. It's probably something simple. Once you get it, it'll be like, oh, obviously. Okay. Let's have a look at this INU, and this will be the last one I can do. Does this one come from our charts? Iron. I really want that search feature, man. It's going to be coming. Don't worry. Actually, it's been growing in my head that seed you planted. um, so I've asked the dev to give us a quote on it as well. Let's see what he says. But okay, iron. I don't have any information on the iron, so I am going to do it freehand. Right. So it's on a daily, below a daily super narrow, and it's below the weekly pivots as well. So price has been in quite a bit of accumulation. Um, I'm just waiting for my indicators to come back on here. High time frame, 1 hour, 1 day. Okay. So it looks like it's in accumulation, to be honest, even though price has expanded off here now. Let's see on a higher time frame. So 4 hour weekly, we've got a weekly fair value gap that's being claimed at the moment. So it's actually tapping into a fair value gap up until this point here. So all of this now is on your weekly fair value gap. So it's still got some price to accumulate. I don't know where the fair value gap started, so we can maybe get that. Here we go. Okay, so this is where your fair value gap ends. Price expansion. Let's see where your support levels are. Yeah, your support levels are very, very far. Resistance levels as well. So price is pretty much in the middle. And it is claiming some of that fair value gap underneath this one as well. You've obviously got quite a strong fair value gap here. Let me just make it. So we've got a lot of liquidity lying around liquidity below. And this looks like was retracement claim going to the downside. So I would anticipate more movement to the downside on this one. I don't know what the RSI levels are. Yeah, so it looks like prices hit high, moving to the down. Okay, doesn't have enough data for that. But yeah, so price does look like it's below. So to scoop up, there's a lot of liquidity below it here. So I would, for instance, look to find this is more a continuation trade than a reversal. Here's your swing point there, swing point low. Let's move 22% in a day, which is fairly big. But it's heading obviously to sweep the previous day low, but I don't know if it's going to stop there, to be honest. Previous day low is obviously where it stopped claiming. Previous day low, high, expansion. So on a super narrow, expansion point could be anywhere between that point and this point. So even if you did halfway, it could look to there. So I would say this would be scooped up already. So you could look for, if you're wanting to hit reversals, how price responds on your 1 hour candle levels. Anyway, over there, obviously on the one below as well. That one's already marked. And actually just to see if it does tap into here or not. So these levels, this one would be 50%, almost 50% of your fair value gap. Look for a continuation entry, obviously a retracement and a continuation to the downside, and then you can trade in between your opposing. And then for a reversal signature, you'd have to see where sweep and then price retraces back. But whether it happens over there or over here to sweep the previous way, like week low, I wouldn't be able to say. But this one still looks, yeah, like it's dropping. Cool. If there are any questions, be open and free to have at it. See if I can answer anything. No questions today? Okay,
No, bro, sorry, I was just trying to unmute and it was not it was
all
not
good.
going through. Just want to ask about I've seen you writing on your section about the y-axis and x-axis, and I think I didn't understand what you meant there on the Discord.
Okay, yeah, that's actually when I started the session, I don't know if you joined us. That's what I was referring to, is that
Probably
one.
was away a little bit, sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm happy to do it again. So what I was finding is like, and especially last time we were saying like, if for instance this is at our resistance point, but when I was saying resistance points, it's in resistance to the high, the side in which the fair value gap in price is in relation to it. So even though this could be in resistance, it's still 100 and something percent before, or 90 something percent before it can reach this. But it has to go like up and down quite a few times before
Mhm.
we're overbought, oversold, overbought before it actually reaches that fair value gap. So the whole idea was that even though, so if you see price in these areas and it does drop into positions like this, for instance, very low RSI, fair value gap 95%, these would be your um how can I say, your most highest opportunities to do like long swing trades to reach these. So you do like low leverage entries and obviously not get tapped out if it does do a slight like retracement, but you'd have to ensure that the coin's not falling off the map or something like that. So the whole idea is just saying like, based on this, even if the price drops a little bit more now, it does want to end up here. And all of these prices, they do want to end up back here because that's where it gets balanced. That's how the book's balanced. And it always does that. Price does that always over and over and over. Although I've noticed with this one, it does this and then hits there. And whether like it hits and responds right back that way or that way, the expansion obviously really depends on what's happening with the market. So that's this XY axis is it's becoming more intuitive as I'm reading it and as I'm seeing where the price is in relation. So I often in these positions now, I don't really like looking at them anymore.
Mm.
I'm very interested in these ones and the ones in the corner here. So that's just
Just
how
on
I
the
explain
corners,
it.
yeah.
But yeah, I know you like your swing trades as well. So this will be a very good entry. Those ones that I put on there in the map earlier, definitely have a look at those ones.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
No worries. No, all good. Good. Cool. Well, awesome, guys. Thanks very much. Let me know if there are any queries. I'm going to have a tap into that one question Rico had, and I'll put it out there as well. And yeah, please, guys, please share a lot in the group with regards to the EAX and questions and how it's working for you. And I'd really like to hear more about how it's going because I'm very, very blinded by, just my own perspective working with this. And although I'm getting pretty far with it and I'm understanding it, I think it'll help me a lot just to hear what other people are going through with it as well. So please, if you can, I'd really like to hear more about how you guys are using it and what it is like for you whenever you have the time. Even if you want to do private calls or sessions, I'm happy with that. Just to reach out and have a chat. I'm cool with that too. So yeah, just putting it out there. But cool. Otherwise, guys, I'm gonna put the recording. I'll share the list as well. And yeah, have a good week. And I'm sure I'll get posting and we'll have a few chats over the week. Take it easy, everybody. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Wait, you can't see my screen. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh, let me just start all of that again. I guess that was a question I should have asked as well. Thanks for letting me know. Sorry about that.